What's up, guys? It's Overrated Gamer back with another live stream, and we are back with another one. We're keeping the grind going. Sharing it real quick. Excuse me. So yeah, what's up, guys? Welcome back. We have Excuse me. Man. What's up, Van Cove? Welcome to the stream. So, we have Dan reviews his Fly By Night. I keep wanting to say War Gone Man. I got that so stuck in my head. Fly By Night, new series that he's doing on his channel. It's not like World Beyond, or World Gone Mad, excuse me. This is a new series entirely, so it hasn't. So he did a video on it a couple days ago. We're gonna react to this video first. This is kind of giving the little bit of a taste of what we're gonna get, and then we'll watch the episode. And then he also did a this season on Fly By Night. So we're gonna watch it all. This will kind of give a better idea of what we're watching and all that stuff, because I don't actually really know anything about it, actually. I mean, very vaguely, you know, that it's 1950s and all that stuff. I know that stuff, but that's about it. I don't really know much more than that, really. So, that's why I'm going to react to the video, and then obviously we'll jump right into the episode. So this is going to be a weekly series, from what I'm understanding. So definitely excited to see how this kind of goes. First episode is 35 minutes, so we're going to be continuously doing this every week. Definitely excited to see how this kind of goes. Later today, we'll be reacting to World Gone Mad, episodes 3 and episodes 4. So we'll definitely be continuing that for sure. Just playing some Fortnite. Just got some of the Street Fighter skins today. Nice. Yeah, I heard it's they're there until next Saturday, so I'm not gonna jump on them just yet. I'm gonna wait till I get some money first before I jump on those. But yeah, I'll definitely be getting them for sure. So, hope you guys do enjoy. Remember, check out Dan Reviews. His channel link is in the description. Show him support and love. Would appreciate it. All credit goes to him, of course. This is his series. If he does make a playlist on this, which I'm sure he probably will, if he hasn't already, that is, I'll probably check to see if he did. If he hasn't, obviously we'll just keep an eye out for it. But I'll be having that playlist in the description, and a link for it, so you guys will be able to check it out for your guys' self. I'm not going to do the episode just because the playlist will be better, so that way then you know what I mean, you can see all of them instead of separately do an episode at a time. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with War Gone Mad. Rather than just do episode by episode, here you're getting the playlist of everything. It's much more simpler that way. So, but yes, channel is in the description as always, and then when he makes a playlist on this series, I'll have that in the description, so then you guys can see the whole thing, and then you guys can play all episodes. So, right after this, Days Gone Remastered. So definitely excited to jump into that. Not sure how far we're gonna get, but you know, it should be a pretty good, exciting one for sure. So, without further ado, hit that like button if you guys do enjoy. Would appreciate that. We can go for 5 likes. That'd be awesome. Again, show love and support to Dan. Makes a fire series for sure. I'm pretty excited about this one. I think it's gonna be another good one. What's up, Brandon? Welcome to the stream. And what's up, Van Cove, by the way? So yeah, definitely show them love. Would appreciate it. That'd be awesome. And we're gonna get right into it. So, I don't know what the volume length is, so.
Alright, so as you guys know, I'm releasing my brand new series.
Well, better understanding of how loud it is. Alright, let's jump into it.
Alright, so as you guys know, I'm releasing my brand new series Fly By Night this Friday on the channel at 4 p.m. After the release of the Walking Dead rewrites for the season 8 finale, all that stuff, which I'm really, really excited about. It's going to be fun to do an event like this on the channel, but I wanted to discuss Fly By Night a little bit and some of the things you can kind of expect from this series. So this is going to just be a raw video. I'm not editing this or anything. This is just going to go out there, and that'll be that. More information that you may want to know about the series. So, yes, a exaggeration of the 1950s. And basically what I mean by that is Fly By Night is going to be a really interesting series. Now, I've been working on this steadily since 2023. Production happened last year, and a little bit this year because I had reshoots I wanted to do. And I actually didn't expect to release this show until 2026. I was actually going to push it that far. But the season was ready enough, so I was like, okay, this is good. I'm going to release it, which obviously, the interesting thing is about a season like this is that it's only 6 episodes, so it's a very to-the-point story. It's a very to-the-point first season. I don't really drag anything out. I usually like doing short first seasons because I like to give people a taste of what the show is before you just launch into something big, you know what I mean? But Fly By Night is a 1950s drama/mafia series. You will see there is a lot of really big just things going on that are in that time period. And that's kind of the one thing I wanted to talk about before this series does release, because there's a lot of things that I think you should know about it, and things that I would actually like to prepare some people for as well. Doing a 1950s series from a narration standpoint, if you've seen World Gone Mad, you know how I do narration stuff. Yes, it's filmed in that same style. You will see on Friday. It's very much the same. If you didn't see the sneak peek I released about a month or two ago, you will know the style is, it's like that, right? The sneak peek will give you a style of kind of how it looks. So that's, obviously if you want to see that. It's on the channel. I'll probably link it down below somewhere. But the series is a massive just time period, and it's going to be an example of what happened in that time. One of the things that I always wanted to explore when it comes to telling a story, and I've had this story in mind, I'd say roughly since about 2022. It's been about since then. And I've kind of gradually worked on it until it was finally presentable, right? One of the things that I always thought about doing a series like this is really for this reason. Why don't we explore the realism and the unfortunate and sad realism of what happened back in the 1950s? And I'm talking about the way that women were treated. I'm talking about the way that people of different race were treated, how wrongfully they were treated back in the day, okay?
Okay.
And this is a pretty insane series in that respect. It is going to give you a lot of realism and tragic, just real stuff of what those people went through back in the day, how certain people of certain race or of certain sexuality were treated. And that's what this show is going to show. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, oh, really? Like, is this show a message? No, it's not a message. It's here to show you what things are like, what things were really like back then. I did a lot of research on a lot of the stuff that happened back in the day, back in the 50s, because I had to make sure that the time period of how things went were told correctly. And that's what this series is. It's a massive, massive explanation of what happened to people around that time, and it's to show you the way the mafia worked back then. It's a mixture of showing the realism of how certain people back then were treated and the mafia involved. And there's drama, there's extra stuff. There's definitely, and this is the one thing I will say, is that there is an exaggeration of what the 1950s are. We definitely go further than what the 1950s did. We're to the point in this series where I can actually say, we exaggerate the truth in this. We go further than that, and we show how things would have gone if things would have stayed that way. That's what this show really represents. It shows you the realism of the 1950s, what people were treated like, and how people were wrongfully accused of things that they may not have been, rightfully accused for, right? And how some people were treated wrongfully back then as a result of just the way things were back then. That's what this show really is about, mixing that with mafia drama and other things like that. It's a very big, time period. It's a big, just kind of showing the realism of how things were. You guys know me. I love realism and storytelling. I love showing how things really work. And with this series, that's kind of the big goal. And it is a massive, risky series. So I want to kind of let you know that in advance, this show is going to cover some heavy topics. It's going to cover some heavy stuff. And it is a very risky series in comparison to what you're used to from me in World Gone Mad. This show does not shy away from how things were said, how they went, how all that stuff goes. So I'm preparing you for that right now. This show does not hold back any punches, and it does give you a lot of realism to the way things worked. And that is the main thing I can tell you about with Fly By Night. Now, it's a 6-episode series for now, obviously. We could do more depending on how this is received. That is kind of the vibe of it right now. There's 6 episodes that are definitely airing, but after that, we're going to see where this all goes in terms of popularity, in terms of, the overall reception from it. I know there are some people that want to review and react to this series. I've had a few people reaching out to me and kind of asking me to do so. Honestly, y'all, feel free. Honestly, I would be very, very happy to see reactions and reviews to this series, and I will definitely share them around to the community so they can check them out as well. It is, like I said, it's told in the World Gone Mad narration way. Now, you may ask, and this is the big thing that I'm going to answer the question of right away, because before even getting into this series, I got to let people know this, because I know there's going to be theories about it. I know there's going to be people asking about it. No, this is not connected to World Gone Mad. This is its own individual project on its own. There is nothing to do with World Gone Mad in this. World Gone Mad is its own separate franchise that is told in a different way. This is its own universe with its own rules, with its own story, with its own characters. This show will stand on its own. That's one thing I can promise. It's an entirely new series. It's an entirely new world. Things are very different. You're going to notice some style changes. And even if you've seen the way I narrate World Gone Mad, you're going to notice a bit of a style difference in terms of the way things are executed, in terms of the way things are kind of presented on screen. It's very different. It is very different from what you're used to from me. But it's a very fun journey with some very extreme and insane sequences that I think will genuinely shock you all in a very, very big way. There's a lot of mystery. There's a lot of things behind it. Like I said, though, the one thing about this series, and I'm giving you the heads up in advance, it is a massive timepiece, and it massively shows the realism of how certain people were treated back then. That's the big thing that this show does. So keep in mind, it's all for story. It's all story driven. You know what I'm saying? We're not here to share any messages or anything like that, because I'm sure people are going to think it is. It is strictly entertainment, and it's to show what it's like. That is what this series is. It shows you the drama of what things are like. It shows you the dynamic between a brother and sister that have a complicated relationship. And it gives you a massive look into the way the mafia worked back in the day. Also, the way things were executed. You're going to see some different things. I really challenged myself in terms of my voice acting in this series. There's some different things I kind of did with this, and it's very different. Admittedly, I've been dying for you guys to see this. I was going to wait longer to do this, but I was like, man, I want to get this show out to people, so it's happening this week. This show is happening this week. I'm very excited to be releasing it to y'all. That is kind of your early information on what you can expect from a series like this. Fly By Night will be a massive series when it comes to the way its story is told, when it comes to the realism. Like I said, it is an enhancement of how things were working in the 1950s, so there are things that are definitely made for TV. But it's to overall show you the way things worked, and the way certain people were mistreated, and the way the realism of the world happened in the 1950s. That is the new series I'm releasing this upcoming Friday, Fly By Night, Episode 1, What You Allow Yourself to See, followed by some more episodes afterwards. Stay tuned for the series. I'm really excited. I know a lot of people have had some excitement for it. I'm really excited to release it to y'all. Can't wait to see some reviews from all y'all and some of your reactions and your thoughts on the series. It's very different, like I said, from anything you've seen me do. and I think it's going to be a very fun and interesting ride. So, thank y'all for watching. Let me know what y'all think, and of course, I'll see y'all Friday for the premiere of Fly By Night. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and peace out.
Okay. Sweet on my jam. Alrighty, so that was kind of the look into what we are expecting. Okay. Wow. Very interesting. Alright, I'm intrigued. I am. Alright. So, without further ado, let's rock and roll. How about it? And we'll also look at the this season on Fly By Night as well. We'll also look at that too. So, look at all of it. So, hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Links to everything down below. And like I said, when he does make a playlist, I'll have that in the description for the all 6 episodes. There we go. And reviews his TV.
In the year 1952, a man named Harold Casher is working for the Nashville Police Department. After his sister Alyssa, Casher gets released from prison. Her life is flipped upside down. Is family more important than the law? We open on the night sky as we see an older man inside of a jail cell looking out at the sky. As we hear a news broadcast saying, there have been reports of men with swords and automatic weapons coming into buildings, killing innocent civilians and injuring others, and even setting buildings on fire. Police are out there in the streets right now, putting their life on the line to save the city. The old man is listening to this as we see him drinking old and disgusting looking water. As we then hear the TV, if you are in the city of London, we are asking all citizens to stay inside until further notice. We'll have more updates on the matter every hour. The old man looks out his cell window as a prison guard is walking down the hall. As he stops at this man's cell and says, well, you seem content. You see the news? I hope you're happy now, Mr. Casher. The whole city is falling into the ground. Congratulations. Because it's the last victory you'll ever see. He keeps walking as we then see this old man just doesn't look bothered. As we see him lay down on his bed, as we see him crack a small smile.
Wow. Crazy.
The next day, we see all the prisoners in the cafeteria taking their tray with them. As we see, the old man is using the phone, as we hear him saying, I know that there is nothing I can do or say that would change anything. Please. No, please, don't hang up, please. I just want you to know that I love you. Please, just, I want you to know that, I want you to know that the person on the other end hangs up on him. And then we see 2 other prisoners walking up to this old man as they then stab him multiple times, as they stab the man to death, as we then see all hell breaks loose in this prison.
Jesus. Damn, that's brutal. Oh shit.
We see a person standing outside of a mansion on a balcony as we see their phone rings as they pick it up. And the person on the other end says, it's not us. The person chuckles and says, good. I believe an electric chair would have sufficed, but this'll do. They've ruined this family's name for years. It's time we finally burn that name down with the rest of his family.
Damn. Surely. That was really cool. Years ago. Asheville, Tennessee. Elisa Cash.
We see a woman being let out of jail. As we see a woman being let out, as we see her standing outside of the prison with a bag and high heels in her hands, we see some dried up blood on the tips of her heels. As she hears a vehicle approaching, as we see the car stops, and she walks up to the driver and he says, "How was that serial killer palace? Get into any fights?" The woman says, "Only the people that really pissed me off." The man says, "Ah, girl, get in. The boss wants a few words."
I like that you get a Jeopardy roll.
She gets in the car and she asks, "So how's Dad been?" The man says, "He's been good.
At least
I think we finally came to an understanding between us and the Perellos. It's been a grueling negotiation process. We'll get there. Alyssa, your father wants to speak to you." Alyssa says, "Is that where we're going?" The man says, "Your father's in a meeting right now, so we'll let him be for tonight. Right now, I want to take you shopping. Get some real clothes, not whatever the hell that is. I want you to look more presentable for when we go meet your father tomorrow. Then, I'll take you home." Alyssa isn't saying anything back, and the man pulls over to the side of the road and says, "You should be dead. But the boss is taking a chance on you, because you're his daughter. And we both know it's not the first time. So if you have something to say to me, Alyssa, you should say it. Because if you act out again, and if you get any other crazy ideas to go against what we've done, the reckoning that you'll face out here is going to be a hell of a lot worse than the reckoning that you faced in that shitbox back there."
Oh. Damn.
Later that night, we see an empty shipyard as we see men standing by these big crates, as one of the guys says, "It's all loaded up, boss, and ready for transport." The other guy says, "Good. Wow, looks like Carlos really came in handy with this one. The boss is really going to be happy with what we're going to be." All of the men turn around to see a big gang of men with guns, as one says, "No, Vito's people, fan out!" We see them open fire on these men with the crates, as we see two guys, Dario and Marty, as some others are firing at them. as Marty says, "We had an understanding. Why the fuck are the Corellos turning on us now?" They fire back and forth, and Dario says, "I don't know. But if they get away with those guns, our boss is not going to be happy, and this could start a whole war with them." Marty says, "I think we're already there, my friend." Dario says, "Vito's going to fucking kill us."
Damn. Beautiful art. That's it.
We see a big mansion as we see a man standing on the balcony looking out at the city of Nashville. As we hear someone says, "Hey boss, we have a situation." Vito turns around and says, "What is it?" The man says, "We have received word that the Corellos are taking crates of our guns from us, sir. We sent a few out to deal with it." Vito says, "What? You don't tell your Don what the hell is going on? I thought I made myself perfectly clear on this. You do not make a deal without my approval." The man says, "That's the thing, boss. Elijah thought he saw Carlos leaving with some crates earlier. It appears that we may have potentially some kind of rat that needs to be handled." Vito says, "Carlos? That kid? I honestly can't see it. Carlos gave up everything for this life." The man then says, "Well, boss, I say this with nothing but respect, but maybe we let in a man that had nothing to lose to begin with," implying he could be a rat. As Vito looks at him with an angry look on his face.
I like some of the pictures he's using. That's funny. It's not expected. It really is. But it's
Back at the
badass.
shipyard.
I love it.
We see the two groups firing back and forth at each other. Dario then shoots one of them, but then another guy hits him in the shoulder as he falls back. Marty says, "Get back, get back." Marty then says, "Stay back, stay back." He reloads his clip and says, "I'm so sorry, Don." As he then unloads on the rest of these men, he kills them all. Dario then walks out, slightly bleeding, and says, "Shit. What the hell are we going to tell the Don?" Marty says, "The hell do you think we tell him? The truth. Nothing but the truth. Telling him what happened is exactly how we proceed with the consequences, before we're the ones paying the consequences." Dario says, "All right, let's go."
Okay.
Later on, we then see them driving around the city of Nashville, as Alyssa says. "So what kind of things are people saying about me, Johnny?" Johnny says, "Nothing besides what happened that night." Alyssa says, "What happened?" "What happened that night is what should have happened a long time ago." Johnny says, "Listen, you keep trying to tell me what happened to my best friend, and you try to convince me that it's justified. I'm going to give you a little reminder." Alyssa says, "Is that what this is? You trying to get me to admit that I was wrong? After what he did to me?" Johnny slams the brakes and turns around and says, "Everybody says that you were wrongly accused. Everyone says that you were innocent and wrongly accused for what you did. Listen to me, bitch. Just because you're his daughter doesn't mean that you didn't do something that you weren't supposed to do. And at least right now, you're not so lucky because your daddy is not here to back you up. The only reason I'm not going to kill you is because I have respect for your father very much. And he has done a lot of great things for me. But don't you think I'm not tempted?" Alyssa looks pissed and says, "Wow, you really are that much of a suck-up. Tell me, did you tug on his balls after finishing sucking his dick?"
Oh,
He hits her in the face as she goes back.
damn.
Johnny then says, "Say it again." "Do you want me to say that again, whore?" Alyssa has a bad bruise on her face and says, "No, sir." Johnny says, "Good girl. We're here."
Huh. Damn. You ain't wrong about this shit being brutal.
They pull into a clothing store as she gets out of the car, and he says, 10 minutes, cashier." We see her inside of the store just looking around. We see one of the employees walks up to her and asks, "Can I help you find anything?" Alyssa turns around and says, "Oh no, I'm just looking, thank you." The woman seems to be sharing a weird stare at her, and Alyssa just smiles at her and says, "Is there a problem?" The woman says, "I remember you. You were the one that killed that man in cold blood behind Macy's." You claim that you were guilty, from what they say. Alyssa says, I wasn't. The woman says, well, just so you know, not everyone gets as lucky as you there, sweetheart. I mean, by the looks of yourself, your life is just getting started, so you may want to make better choices in the future. Alyssa says, excuse me, I forgot the part where this was any of your concern. I'm going to check out unless, of course, you don't want me to give you any of my business, which you definitely haven't earned. Don't try me, lady. The woman says, I'm just giving some friendly advice is all. Alyssa says, well, lady, if I want your counsel, I'll ask. She pays her, and she notices that there's some people in the store that are just looking at her funny. As we then see, a few are whispering at each other. As they're staring at Alyssa, she just looks rather upset, and she walks out of the store.
Damn.
We see her walking out into the parking lot, and Johnny rolls up and says, come on, let me get you home. Alyssa says, pass. I think I'll walk from here. Johnny says, come on, don't be like that. I'm just messing around. Alyssa says, yeah, it's just a few blocks away. I'll be fine. Johnny says, well, suit yourself. He drives away as he looks through the rearview mirror, as he watches her down the street, as we then see a small smirk on the guy's face. Back at the mansion, we see Dario and Marty walking up to the mansion entrance, as we see a man on watch that says to them, holy Jesus, what happened to you? Dario says, long story. We've got a lot to talk to the Don about. The man says, well, he's waiting for you. They walk into Vito's office as we see him sitting in the dark with a drink in his hand, sitting in a big chair, as he says, wow, does anybody knock? Marty says, sorry, boss, we won't keep you long. Vito says, no, I want to hear this. What happened? Marty says, well, we caught wind of Carlos. He was sneaking out with the guns and delivering it to the Pirellos. We followed them out to the shipyard where we saw they were transporting all the guns. We weren't going to let them get away, so we intervened. Vito says, well, nicely done on the execution. But now we have a serious problem on our hands, gentlemen, and I'm going to need some answers very quickly. So, do you know how much information Carlos has on the operation? Do you know the things that he would say if he is indeed a rat? Dario says, we'll find our answers, boss. Vito says, good. Tomorrow we'll get you all to go out to some of his favorite places. Try to track him down. Anywhere you know he usually goes. If you manage to get a hold of him, I want you to keep him alive. You bring him to me, understand? You don't kill, understood? Dario and Marty both look like they understand, and he says, okay, well, do well, both of you. As they then leave the room, as he looks out at the night sky, as he looks worried and says, where are you, baby girl? Where the hell are you? Back with Alyssa. We see her walking downtown as she then stops for a minute and walks down this very narrow alleyway. She then stops and stands there for a few seconds as she looks very sad and horrified. As she's standing there, we see flashes of her killing someone in the past as she remembers pieces of it as she sits there trying to remember what happened.
Damn. Arrow.
We then see a man driving home for the night as he pulls over in his driveway and walks inside. We see this man is a police officer, and his name on his outfit says Harold Casher, the same last name as Alyssa. He walks in and says, honey, I'm home. We then see this woman is pregnant and she says, hi, honey, dinner's on the table. He takes his boots off and goes and sits down to have dinner. As she says, "So how was it?" He says, "Oh, baby, I gotta tell you, I've never been so bored in all my life. I mean, he would just go off and off and off with that shit. I don't think the man could ever shut up." She laughs and says, "Well, you got through it. You're not working tomorrow, right?" Harold says, "Yeah, there might be a change of plans on that, honey. I'm sorry, it came up at the last minute. You see, they got me working on patrol again tomorrow." And she stops him and says, "Harold, tomorrow is my due date. I mean, I'm going into labor tomorrow for all I know. What if something happens while you're not here?" Harold says, I know. Listen, baby, there's no way, okay? I already tried to get out of it. They won't let me, all right? They said that I need to do my job tomorrow as requested, or else there's going to be terrible consequences. I mean, I can't lose my job over this. I mean, hell, you know, I'm the only black motherfucker on the force. You know what they'll do to me if I don't do this. And you know that I can't mess around with my hours, okay? Please tell me you understand. I'm working these grueling hours, doing these risky jobs for you, for our kid that's about to be born, that's about to come into this world, all right? You gotta understand. She says, "Fine, I understand. But you better not die up there, all right? I don't like what they make you do." Harold says, "I don't either, baby, I don't either. But there's another thing." She says, "What?" Harold says, "She got released today." She says, "And?" Harold says, "And I told her she could stay with us temporarily until she figures this shit out. It's only temporary, all right? It won't be for that long. I just gotta help her get back on her feet again, okay?" She looks worried and he says, "Caroline, we've discussed this. She is my sister. Maybe not by blood, but she's my sister." Caroline says, "She is a killer." Harold looks upset and says, "Now you know that ain't true." Caroline says, "I don't know what is true besides this. Our baby is about to be here, and I do not want Alyssa messing anything up, so you tell her that she can stay here for now, but I want her gone by the end of the month, okay?" Harold says, "Okay. All right."
Damn. Deep. That was actually really good. I like that. I thought that was deep though.
Later on, we see Alyssa knocks on the door. As Harold opens it and says, "Hey, sis." He hugs her and she says, "Wow, you finally got on the force, huh?" Harold says, "Yeah, kind of at the bottom of the barrel right now, but I'm sure it'll get better. Me and my wife aren't necessarily struggling anymore because of it, so there are some pluses on that." Caroline walks up to them and says, "Hi, Alyssa. Let me show you to where you're going to be staying for the time being." Alyssa says, "Oh, thanks. Oh, and I promise, I won't get in your way, okay? I'll be out of here as soon as humanly possible, till I can find a good place to stay." Caroline says, "Very well." She leaves the room. As we then see, it's just her and Harold, as he says, "Father's very disappointed in you." Alyssa says, "Dad? So that's why I'm out early." "Well, let's just say your father may have found some dirt on the judge, and some things kind of went his way. Besides, there was no direct evidence that you killed that man." Alyssa says, "I didn't." Harold says, "Yeah, you keep saying that, but what did happen?" Alyssa says, "Can we please not today? Hell, I already look like a psycho bitch in this town. Everyone that sees me gives me the side eye, or they say something that I don't want to hear. I'm just asking for one night of peace. Can we talk about it tomorrow?" Harold says, "Well, tomorrow night, Dad is having a party, or I guess more so a gathering. He'd like you to be there. Just tell me you'll at least consider." Alyssa says, No, I will. I mean, hell, he went through all those lengths for me, so the least I could do is show up to his stupid party." Harold says, "Well, get some sleep, sis. We'll talk tomorrow." Alyssa says, "Okay. All right." Harold says, "Night, sis."
Very interesting. Damn.
The next day, we see Vito walking in this park, as we then see him walk up to a man that is sitting on a bench and says, "I thought I made myself perfectly clear." The man sitting next to him says, We had other information that was more valuable to us. Vito says, what kind of information? The man says, you will learn real soon, my friend, but not from me. Vito says, oh, you really think you're going to be able to threaten me over a deal that I've made perfectly clear was done? If you choose to escalate this, then this will be escalated. The man says, it appears like after last night, things have already escalated. It's a shame that it didn't work out because I really thought there was an opportunity for a great partnership here, friend. He walks away as Vito looks a bit on edge.
Wow. Nashville Police Station.
We see Harold working at his desk as we then see one of the officers walks up to him and says, hey, Harold, I need 2 copies of these. Harold says, all right. Hey, do you ever hear from Mr. Stevens? The man says, no, he hasn't really shown up for a shift in about 3 days. Harold says, I'm a little worried about him. Things have been pretty strange around here lately. The man says, oh, by the way, we gotta go in 10 minutes. Harold says, all right, I'll meet you out back. We see Alyssa waking up for the day. As we see her look out her window, as she sees a woman across the street getting her mail, as she waves at her, and the woman just turns around, and she doesn't acknowledge her whatsoever. Alyssa is rather depressed about the way people treat her now. She then walks over to the mirror, and she looks at herself, and she then notices a small scar on her head. As she then remembers someone grabbing her hair as she kicks this person. As we then see, she's remembering pieces of it, but not the whole story. Back at the station, we see Harold walking out back, as we then see him going towards his car. As a guy says, get it done, Casher. If you do, I'll buy you dinner. On me. We see Harold is about to get into his car, but then he sees something spray painted on the wall. As he looks a bit confused, and he says, what the hell are you trying to tell me? As we then see him get into the car and drive away. We see Dario and Marty entering a bar as Dario walks up to the bartender and says, hey, Tony. Tony says, hey, what can I do for you, gentlemen? Marty says, well, quite simple, actually. We're looking for one of our boys. He's gone missing. His name is Carlos. He's about 6'2", dark hair, very infectious personality. You'd know him right away.
Huh.
You happen to see him? You happen to see anybody like that? Tony says, oh, yeah, actually. I saw him last night. He and a few of the other guys came in for a drink, and it was fast, but they left. I'm sorry, if I would have known, I would have. Marty says, no, it's okay. I'll tell you what, though. Call us if he comes back, all right? Tony looks intimidated by these guys and says, of course. As we see the men walk out of the bar. Later on, we see the sun going down as we see Alyssa and Caroline arriving at the mansion for this party. Caroline says, did you hear anything from Harold? Alyssa says, no, I've been trying to reach him all day, but I haven't heard anything. He'll turn up, I'm sure. I've never seen my brother miss a party. They enter as they walk up to Vito, as she says, Dad? Vito turns around as we see a small tear going down his face. As he hugs her and says, you okay? Alyssa says, yeah, I'm okay. Vito says, good, but we were caught up in a bad fight. I didn't really want to involve you in anything. Alyssa says, no, it's okay, I understand. Vito says, where's your brother? Caroline says, should be here soon, I'm hoping. Vito says, okay, well, in the meantime, come to the roof. I got some friends I'd like you to meet. We see them go up to the roof, and Alyssa says, wow, this is impressive, Dad, I gotta say. Well-earned money. Vito says, thanks. Yeah, I thought we did pretty well, all things considered. Alyssa smiles as she then says, Dad, mind if I use the restroom? It's a bit of a long drive. Vito says, oh, of course. Second floor, second door to your left. As we then see her walk off. We then zoom out from the mansion house as we then see several men with guns as they walk through the entrance.
Oh,
they
shit.
then just start shooting a bunch of people as they fire towards everyone inside. Vito and the others see this as Vito and some of his men open fire towards these men. As we then see both groups start firing at each other, as Vito says, back up, back up! We then see a bunch of innocent people getting shot and killed as Vito says to one of his guys, it's those goddamn Borellos again! Fuck! They fire a few more shots as we then see the lead guy says, Oi! Vito! I suggest you and your man take a little tug and come down here, or I will pop a cap in your man's head. We then see one of his men being held at gunpoint. Vito looks pissed and says, do it, just fucking do it. All his men drop their guns and come out, as Vito says. Wow. You people just had to show off. You couldn't have just had the common decency to talk this over, the man says. Talk this over? Bloody hell, mate. We tried to negotiate and you failed. So now we're gonna sit here and politely jerk each other off a little bit, maybe tongue our balls a little bit, until the man here is ready to tell you himself. Vito says, who? And the guy says, well, very well then. Let me show you. Out of nowhere, Vito gets shot in the leg and falls to the ground.
Oh, damn.
We see his leg bleeding as we then see the leader of the Borellos comes out. Vito looks up at this man who has just shot him and says, what the? Carlos? Carlos walks up to him and says, oh, Vito, Vito, Vito. You are so focused on power that you have no idea. You didn't even realize that you let a wolf into your home. Oh, I fucking hate people with big egos like yours. Oh, but they always fall the quickest, don't they, gentlemen? All it takes is a little bang bang and you're down. Oh, you're fucking down, all right. You're right. I did steal. And I did take your guns. And now what you're going to do is you're going to listen. Okay. Frank Borello, my father, our Don, was murdered by you 2 fucking years ago. Seems like a lot of people are getting framed for things they didn't do around here now that I think about it. So since you are the Don of these people, I will make myself very clear. You are going to supply us what I tell you to supply us, and your first delivery will be next week. Vito says, no. We've given up too much. For you to come in here after what you just pulled on me and demand orders, Carlos says. Well, it doesn't seem like I'm asking, so yes, I am demanding. What is it there, Vito? You upset? Oh, you want to cry? No, shit, don't cry. I haven't even given you a reason to yet. He shoots one of his guys as the blood splatters all across Vito's face, as Carlos says. Okay, well, now you can cry. Vito says, fuck you. Carlos says, fuck me? He shoots another one of Vito's guys as Vito says, okay, stop. Please. We accept your terms, okay? Please don't do any more. Carlos looks happy and says, now that's more the voice I was wanting to hear. He walks up to Vito and says, first shipment next week. If not, more of this will occur. I don't know what else to tell you, Vito. I guess just see what you allow yourself to see. He and his men start walking away as he says, been a pleasure working with you, Cashers. Can't wait for more.
Damn. That was insane. Whew. Fucking brutal.
We see Vito limping through his house looking for Alyssa as he sang, Alyssa, Alyssa, you down here? But then he sees blood on the floor. As he sees the blood leads to the bathroom. He follows this trail of blood as he then sees a crack in the wall. Vito looks nervous, but then he sees Alyssa sitting in the bathroom floor, covered in blood. As we see a dead body on the floor, Vito looks shocked as she looks at her father and says, I'm sorry. As we see, Vito looks horrified.
Holy shit. Wow. That was good. Damn. Damn, that was good. Holy shit. Woo. Okay. Wow, that was the pilot episode. Will you allow yourself to see? Oh, Fly By Night. Damn, that was actually really good. Wow. God damn it, Dan does it again. Damn, round of applause, honestly. W's. Wow. That was very dark. And very deep. Excuse me. Damn. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was crazy. Okay. Let me know what you guys thought. 9 out of 10. I'm sticking with the 9. We got 9s going on today. Damn. I gave the Hedgehog Bros episode a 9, and this premiere of Fly By Night is also a 9 for me. That was damn good. I am very intrigued to see what continues. Truly. Very mind-blowing things, I'm not gonna lie. Crazy. Yeah. Truly. Crazy. I like the art style, the design, the way the characters look and stuff like that. Fire intro. I mean, truly. I mean, there was a lot of just creativity in it. Really sparks a whole new life to it. Excuse me. Yeah, there's really a lot there, honestly. I'm definitely intrigued to kind of continue with Harold. his sis, Elisa, um, and and Vito, and then the villain too. Damn, crazy. Wow. Excuse me. Yeah, craziness, truly, craziness. Um, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, crazy, crazy daisy. Not sure if there's any more to say, really. Yeah, I mean, no. Oh, the Marty character, and forgetting his name. His two henchmen, I would say, are pretty cool, or very interesting characters actually. Definitely. That's crazy. Stupid. Damn, he got shot in the leg. That's crazy. Crazy daisy, man. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, 9 out of 10. Very good episode. Or very good premiere, I should say. Let me know what you guys thought. Dave reviews the channel. Description. I'll have a reaction playlist for this as well. Excuse me. So yeah, should be crazy. Oh, and then we got the this season on 519. Here we go. 38 seconds.
Everybody out here.
Rich men want it, wise men know it, the poor all need it.
Love. What does that have to do?
And the penny drops.
Whoa. Damn, he really went out with this shit. Holy crap. That actually looks like an actual show. That is crazy. Wow. Wow. Damn. That fire teaser. Wow. Yeah, 9 out of 10. Very good. Very good. Truly. Crazy, brother. Crazy. Wow. Huh. Well. I will say, mind blown. Not gonna lie, very mind blown. Well, let me know what you guys thought. Like I said, links for everything in the description. Check them all out. Let me know your guys' thoughts, review, all that good stuff in the chat or the comment section below. Excuse me. Let's see. Shit. I'm trying to think if like I have enough energy to take another pop and try to keep myself awake and try to continue on, or maybe just get some sleep and then just get up a little earlier. I might just do that. I don't know. I might just do that, honestly. Yeah. I think I'm just gonna try doing that. Yeah, so it's gonna be kind of hopping type situation, but I am gonna spread it out a little bit more though. I think I might do Hedgehog Bros first, 176, and then Days Gone Remastered, and then you know what I mean. So it's kind of spread out that way, so then at least it's not all jumbled together, you know. That's how I'm gonna do it. Yeah. So your man's gonna get some sleep. So, yeah. Move it. Otherwise, I'll be barely awake for anything. Pop will only keep you awake for so long. If you know what I mean. And I don't want to make it. I don't know how the hell that got clicked, but alright, whatever. I don't even know what it's doing. Stupid TV. Come on. Alright, there we go. Sorry about that. So, yeah. So, fire, definitely. Yeah, more fire content later. Stay tuned. Hope you guys enjoyed. Links for everything in the description. Check them all out. Would appreciate it. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Hit that like button. Would appreciate it. Going for 5 likes. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm ready to sign out. Peace. Have a go, guys. Much more sensitive.